Hi, everyone. We are back for another week of exciting rehearsals. This week, we have behind the scenes of DCI Tour. We'll also find out what made Joey say.
People were like, "Oh, you're always so prepared." I'm like, "No, I'm just not trying to get, whatever it is that the drum corps has." Like,
and why Peyton said.
And everyone's coming up to me. They're like, "You hyped this up, and you lied to me. How dare you, as a drum major, lie to me?"
All this and more, so get out on the field and we will see you back on the sideline for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go. Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 of On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal. On a Water Break. I'm Ricardo Robinson-Shinall, and I'm hosting the show, y'all. Well, this show is extra special because everyone on today's episode was on tour this summer with some DCI corps. We are diving into what it's like to really be on tour, and I mean really be on tour. The good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, and all things in between. So, let's see who's on the sidelines this week. Nicole, I know where you were.
I know where you were last summer. I would hope so, because I was sleeping on your air mattress.
So listeners, here it goes. Full disclosure, Nicole and I, we shared an air mattress this summer because we are that close. And it was you're a great bedmate. You don't move at night.
I mean, yeah.
You also don't snore.
Sometimes.
Okay,
I'm fully aware.
There was one night where you and your friend Al were snoring like in symphony with each other. And I almost recorded it, but I said I would be a terrible friend if I did that to you.
Thank you so much for it. Actually, yeah. Oh, thank you. I would not want to find it somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Joey is sitting on the sidelines. Joey, who were you on tour with?
I was on tour with Genesis this year. I did some Vig this summer.
Yeah, you did. It was so exciting at that show in Wyoming where I was standing there getting ready to walk out onto the field and you just ran up and you were like, Ricky. And I was like, oh, hey.
I guess we're familiar. Yeah. I honestly, I was waiting by the gate. I was like, I'm going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like, if I'm going to put myself out there and start doing podcasting, which that was like to get me out of my comfort zone and get me comfortable again, talking to people since COVID, I was like, and then the Viz team was like, just go over there. You yell at kids all day. Like, what's the difference? Just go over and yell at them, take a picture, get out of there. And I was like, and I think our interaction was maybe 45 seconds at the most.
It literally was 45 seconds. It was good to see you, though. I was like, oh my God, it's someone I know, even though we've actually never really met in real life until that moment. So, but it was so cool just being in this random place in the world and running into someone that you do this thing with. Like, that's kind of the beauty of this whole band world that we're in.
Yeah, I continue to talk to my students about like, hey, this is a small world. Every day's an audition. You never know who knows who. Like be on your best behavior. Always, go for the part. You never know when you'll get the solo. You never know when you get, called to the big leagues. And so, yeah, I agree with you. It's so cool how small this big world is, this marching band world.
Yeah, it gets smaller every day because more and more of us get to see each other in different ways in different venues. So it's super awesome. Like my friend Cynthia. Cynthia, who were you teaching this summer?
I was with the Troopers this summer. Woo.
HLB. Yeah. HLB.
So Cynthia, I think you were on and times when I was off. Like I think we were always switching places because every time I would look for you, you weren't on tour. You were like at home or doing something else.
Exactly. Well, we're probably going to talk about later, but this staff team was built very later on. So the regular season when staff teams are built. So it was a mashup of anyone who was available. So yeah, I joined later on from July 21st all the way through the end. But it was the greatest. It's when you start cleaning and you do the last big push to get things right. But
yeah, that's what I say. It's the fun part.
mm-hmm.
Cleaning is the fun part.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. We have our newest co-host, Peyton, who is in the middle of band camp. Peyton, I don't know how you do it. My goodness, you literally ran into the recording coming straight out of band camp. Tell everyone who you were with this summer and what you were doing.
Second season as a drum major with Spirit of Atlanta, and it was very eventful, to say the least. In the best way possible. Let me make that clear.
Of course it was. I got to see you from the sideline all the time because we were always going on next to each other. So it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
As an alumni, I was always looking like, oh, get a Spirit. Yeah.
I really, really, really enjoyed that show.
Thank
I think
you.
I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of those groups. We're going to talk about this later, but like,
it was such an odd concept too. Like you, on first glance, you watch the show for the first time and you're like, who are these kids on 4-foot stilts?
But it did something, you know,
For
like
sure.
I really, really liked it. And it just held together well, but yeah, good job.
We changed and rewrote so many aspects of the show. One of the jokes one of the brass staff made was, you guys learned like 2.5 shows. So, but the end product was something I was, of course, really proud of. So, and they worked incredibly hard. The work ethic on the kids this summer was unlike anything I've seen before.
Yes, we love that. We love a good work ethic.
Right?
Yes, we do.
Well, since it's just family tonight, we are going to dive right in. I will start my tour journey and you guys chime in whatever because, this is family talk. So, I spent my summer as the color guard caption head for the Academy, and which was wonderful experience for me, having not taught drum corps in a very long time. Yeah. And part of the reason why I accepted the job was because I was like, you mean I get to do drum corps out west where it's going to be like awesome and no humidity and California and all those things. And it was fantastic. I have to tell everybody, being on the West Coast, like I live in Florida, just so everyone knows, if you know that, I live in Florida. It's very flat here. Yes, I have the beach, but it's the beach. It gets boring. I'm a mountain person. If I could look at mountains all day, I would be happy. And I got to look at mountains every day on tour.
It was beautiful. It was so pretty.
So pretty. Every place we went to, I feel like every stadium that we rehearsed in, there was like a mountain in the background. And I would find myself sometimes when I got bored watching the flags make the same mistakes in the back of the field, I would just be looking out at the mountain. And
it was so picturesque though. Like there was nothing you could do. Like you had to like just stand there and like stare at it for a little bit. But yeah, there was always some kind of mountain like scape. Yeah. I don't know how many pictures I took on my phone of just that. And I was like, when are we going to start moving? Because I'm going to have like a picture of every part of the school.
Oh, yeah. I did a thing this summer because I was away from my husband for a lot of the summer. So, and he was a little bit jealous of the fact that I was, in the mountains and going to all these cool places. So I would wake up every morning and I would just go outside and I would make a video view of the day from wherever we were. And it would just be a 360-degree video of me just showing the scenery around the stadium that we were rehearsing in that day. And those are going to be some great memories for me to look back on because, once I get bored with being flat here in Florida, I can look at a mountain on my phone. Anybody else? How was everyone else's tour experience? Cynthia, you came into a whole different country to do a tour.
Right. How was that?
It was fun. It was actually my first world class tour ever because I'm a DCA girl or all age, whatever it is now, and taught open class, but it's so different. And I joined in Swamp Tour. So yeah, everyone was like, oh, really? You don't want to wait like a couple of days? And to be real, I like Swamp Tour better than all the other, like North Carolina. And I deal with humidity so much better than the actual sun. I'm allergic to the sun, for people that want to have a laugh. So for me, like Louisiana and all of that, like I was sweating, but it was great. It was actually really, really fun. And and then we got into Pennsylvania, and I almost died after an hour. And I was like, what is this? Like, it didn't make sense, but yeah, I guess I'm weird like that.
It was so gross in Pennsylvania for no reason.
It was.
And I
It was
literally
just-
am from Pennsylvania, and I spent the entire time. Okay, I do not want to interject. I don't want to interject at all.
you have
You
to
go.
now.
Yeah.
So with Jacksonville State, we spent 36 days doing spring training there. And then immediately, like, you're going through Georgia, you're going through Alabama. So it's like infinite Swamp Tour glitch. Your spring training is Swamp Tour.
Yeah.
And then we were in Texas, and Texas was like fairly mild. And then, of course, you're going back through like Arkansas and Alabama, and then it's like Swamp Tour Part 3. And meanwhile, I'm one of the only people, if not the only person from Spirit from Pennsylvania. I think we had someone from Pittsburgh, but I'm like from out near Philadelphia. And so I spent the entire summer being like, Philly's gonna be so great. The weather's gonna be so nice, and it's gonna be so cool. Cause like right now it's 70 degrees. I'm doing band camp in like, I'm waking up, it's like 67 degrees. It's awesome.
Okay, brag. Okay, brag.
We get to Pennsylvania. We're out right near Allentown, and it's disgusting. And everyone's coming up to me. They're like, "You hyped this up, and you lied to me. How dare you, as a drum major, lie to me?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "I'm sorry."
You sabotaged them.
I did. I really did. I jinxed it for myself.
I don't know why it was so gross because I came back on in Allentown, and I came from Florida to Allentown. And I was like, I kind of actually want to go back to Florida now because
it was so buggy too. We were at a housing site that like did not have a stadium, and it was just super buggy out, and I felt like I was sweating as much back in Alabama. So
I think it's very interesting. I think when I was marching, I always hyped up Nebraska and Kansas because that's where I was going at the time. And I was like, guys, you're gonna love it. I love like da 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 da. And anytime that I said, hey, you're gonna love this place, of course it was like either a monsoon or today's the hottest day it's ever been in history, or hey, we've never had tornadoes in the summer in Kansas, but all of a sudden there's an F4 coming our way. We're gonna have to go inside and take like if you ever say, hey, this is the beautiful place, I feel like the drum corps gods are like, we'll see about that, you know?
Oh, yeah, they're like, just wait.
Did anyone else experience like crazy amounts of rain though? Like I know Troop had a few like rained out shows, but we had probably 3 or 4 shows that were rained out.
So I will brag and say that every time that I had to leave tour for some reason, whether to come home and teach or teach, at the Music for All Symposium or whatever, and Nicole was stepping in for me as the caption head. I would check, the Slack would start going off because they were taking lightning breaks and trying to figure out rain sites. And I
hate lightning protocol.
Yeah. And I was like, well, this never happens when I'm on the road. Like, I guess I must be lucky and we're fine. I went back in Atlanta and we were having a rehearsal. We were having an afternoon block out. And I have like a sense, like a spidey sense, like from back when I was marching Spirit. I said, oh, it's going to rain in like 5 minutes.
Like from Mean Girls, really?
Like really, it's like that totally thing. So, watch the video, listeners, so you can see what's happening. So I was like, oh, it's going to rain in like 10 minutes. I was like, color guard, you should probably go move the props and like get your step inside. So I have no idea why the color guard decided to be like move at the pace of molasses. And they're moving slow. And then all of a sudden, it didn't start with like a sprinkle to warn you. It literally, the bottom just fell out for 20 minutes. Every flag got soaked. Every kid got soaked. I got soaked. The sound system got soaked. Everything was just dripping wet. We go into this hallway because it was the closest thing that we could do to get inside for shelter. And the flags were so wet and the kids were so wet that the floors were like flooded. And the janitors came down the hallway and started screaming at us because we had gotten the floors messed up, and they were starting school like in a few days.
I did not know this.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So
Nothing
then
like that happened when I was on, except for like, there's going to be something rolling in, and yes, you got to take that extra time for the props. But yeah, as far as what you're going through, what you're describing, like we didn't have any kind of big mishap like that. At least I don't think so.
No. I know Troops had, I think, in total 3 rained out shows, but I was not there for none of them. And the only time that it really rained while rehearsal, because it rained like before rehearsal and after rehearsals, and they had, like any other drum corps, not so much of a good show one night, and me and the other weapon tech, we were like, we're going to get on you and we're going to work with you and you're going to catch and it's going to work and blah, blah, blah. And then the day after, we spent some time under a roof because it was raining, but we're under a roof, and then we had ensemble. And then as an old school-ish, young old school person, I was like, but why aren't we spinning in the rain?
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't spin in the rain. And I was like, no, but we do. And I was like, I get it for flags, although I'm a flag girly spinner. And I remember like spinning under not thunderstorms, but DCA, you have 2 days. So
it didn't matter. You got outside.
Oh no, you got outside and you rain and you did ensemble and like full rain and full wind. Not saying that this is necessarily safe anymore, but I was with the Sabres and I was like, you're going to twirl under rain. It was light rain, but you're going to twirl under rain. And they did. And I kept on saying the entire summer, I was like, this was your best technician. You cannot hide anything under rain. You need perfect technique and you need to apply. And that's what they did. So yeah, so that was a saying that we kept on saying. I kept on screaming at the Sabres, make it rain. And then a couple of them after DCI finals, they came up to me and they were like, I made it rain, huh? And I was like, yeah, they showed up. So that was a great moment. And then you get to this indoor facility in Indianapolis, and then you get in warm-ups and they bop their stuff. Now, all of a sudden, they catch everything. They're so good in warm-ups. And we were like, oh, I guess they do have technique. I guess we did do something right. It's just wind and stuff. And yeah, so Indianapolis is just great, especially members and staff in color guard, because you're like, whoop, everything just lands in their hands all of a sudden. And you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
but it was windy.
Allegedly. It's supposed to, let's say that.
Yeah. But it worked out for us. I think it worked out for us. Yeah.
I'm gonna be like one of those back in my day people, but Cynthia, you're right. Like back in my day, we rehearsed in the rain. Like I distinctly remember learning Four Corners. I learned parts 1 and 2 in full out rain every day and like 40-degree weather at NIU, Northern Illinois University.
Lightning protocol just slide.
Do what?
You could. Lightning protocol. It's like you could be like 10 miles away and they're like, oh, you're in a nest too, by the way, which means that you have to go inside.
Yep.
That's something that our the staff at Genesis, and when I talk to other staffs, we'd be like, did you get the rain today? And they're like, yeah. And we've been like, all I heard was bass drums. I didn't hear any thunder. I saw somebody flashing their car lights. I didn't see lightning, at this age, I just don't know what I hear and see. And then we reminisced about, like, kind of like you're talking about, Ricardo. Like, I remember learning third movement in the pouring rain. I remember lightning hitting the cornfield right next to us, and we saying, well, they're going to hit the contras first. Like, it's not going to hit me on mellow. If the saber throws high enough, it's going to hit the saber. It's not
hit the saber.
It's fine, it's going to hit the drum major with the sword and all the things, it's, it is what it is, and then you talk about like,
I'm the highest point on that podium. If it's coming for anything, it's coming for me.
It's not coming for me. I'm good. I'll stand at standby. Yeah. And then the heat protocols too. I mean, like it's all to keep the members safe. It's all to keep us safe. I understand that, And I think it's great that we're making shifts in the activity to keep our students and our staff safe. But it's funny when they go, when the kids are like, oh, it's hot out. And I go, yeah, well, my text made me do, 5 and 5 when it was this hot out,
Right.
My text made me jazz run across the field. But so I understand you. We're going to take care of you, but just know, the staff did this, and that's why we're asking you to do this. There's a double edge to the sword,
It's the phrase, you got it easy nowadays, kid.
And then I just feel old.
Back in my day, when we did real drum corps, we did it outside, and no one cared if
no electronics.
We were hungry. We just got the show on the field.
Exactly. Okay, it's time to work on that ballot again since we learned those sets a few days ago, and we'll be right back as we dive deeper into DCI Tour 2024.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
And we are back. We are talking about some of our highlights from the DCI tour this summer. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a little family roundtable, and we're going to talk about some of the things that happen, as in best and worst moments. So I am going to ask my dear sister, Auntie Nicole, what was your scariest moment on tour?
Oh, you know what? This is perfect that you asked me that. So our props, we have, what was there, like 12 of them?
16.
16. Okay. Okay. There was one time when we had all of them off to the side. We were in Arizona. It's very gusty when the wind does blow. I was walking and I walked past one and I was like, oh, that's kind of moving a little faster. I turn around and all of the props are coming towards me. Like I can't outrun it, so I have to jump on it and then just ride it until it stops.
It was like you were trying to lasso like a cow in the rodeo. Is that what that was?
Yes, but it was just all of a sudden, I turn around and it's all those doors coming at me, and I'm like, is this a euphemism or something? I don't know.
When opportunity knocks, Nicole.
Well, I mean, is it going to run me over? Is it going to kill me? What does that mean? But yeah, that was scary. And then the thing is that there were people Josh saw, the director, saw all that happening from afar. So came running in and was just like, "Are you okay? I saw all this happening." I was like, yeah. I mean, it all stopped rolling. So yeah. Hands down, scariest.
That's like a banned episode of Final Destination, I think.
We used to play that. Oh my gosh. Oh, just a little side note really quickly too. So, Joey, I used to teach at Genesis. Oh, a long time ago. Oh my gosh. But I used to teach there. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, you so fit the vibe that's there. And it does. I think that's happening.
What do you mean by that?
People are just laid back there, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, it was really cool. This is my first year on staff with Genesis. This is actually my first time back doing drum corps since COVID, and we can talk about more about what that is. Big shout out to Luke Zamprelli. I met him a couple years ago at BOA. I have an Airbnb at BOA every year. So if anybody needs a place to sleep that's safe and doesn't have all the craziness, come hang out, come stay in the Airbnb. There's a bed for you. It's nice, calm, relaxed. There's some sodas. There's some food. But I met Luke Zamprelli a couple years ago, and I was like, I want to get back into drum corps. Can you help me? And so he called me up, this past November. Was like, hey, there's a spot for you at Genesis. Jump in. It's a whole new Vish team, whole new da 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 da, and come be a part of it. So, it was cool to see how it all kind of mixes up. It was nice to meet Chris McGonigal. I say it wrong. I think that's the right way.
That's right.
And talk to him about what he's done to grow Genesis and where that's at. And unfortunately, I don't know that I'm allowed to share. You know what? That's what this podcast is for, and we talked about that earlier. But I won't be returning back to Genesis. There's the staff's moving. We're doing all the things, and it was cool to watch a Texas group do things. And I'm originally from Texas, so it was nice and dear to my heart to work with a drum corps from my home state. And that we're talking about scariest moments. Like that was my scariest moment, was that I haven't taught drum corps in 4 years, and the activity changes so fast. I didn't know that I'd fit in. I was the oldest person on Vish staff, and so being 31, the next person was I think 27, maybe 28, and that's not a huge difference. But when it comes to like I've been teaching since 2010,
Oh my God.
aged out in 2018, 2017, and I'm like, okay, when
No, Peyton, you're not allowed to talk right now. This is
Sorry, all grown folks is talking, okay?
Grown folks is talking. Look at everybody talking to Peyton right now. Oh my goodness.
You need to listen to all of us.
If you want me to
I was in the sleeper bus, and I don't know, apparently I looked younger, or maybe they were just very nice people, and they were. But I was in the sleeper bus, and at a certain point, like, they were talking, and they were like, what? You have a kid? What? You have a house? What? And I was like, how old are you? And they're like, oh, I aged out last year. And I was like, I could be their mother, like a really young mother, but I could be their mother. And I was like, okay, cool.
I had a school admin take a picture of me from the cafeteria of me on the scaffolding and say, there are students on the scaffolding. And I was like, I haven't been in high school since 2011. What are you talking about? What's going on here? So, I understand, and I know we're in a, I'm not the, I don't want to say I'm the oldest. You know what? This place is to be catty and petty and all the things. I'm not the oldest in the room right now.
I am
and so
5 seconds from fighting you when you talk about being the oldest person in the room. I will fight you.
I'll delete the picture. It's fine. We never met. I got it. You got it. But that was the scariest part to me, is like, how am I going to fit in? Also, I marched troopers. I had a great time with the staff that I learned from at Troopers back in 2011, 2012. It's not the same thing when I was there, and it's great to see the home team kind of shine since the first time, since the 50s and 60s, and we talked about seeing that growth. But I marched when it was 14th, 15th, 18th place. I didn't know that I fit in with these Blue Stars, Blue Devil, Cadet. There were Boston Crusaders on staff, and I was scared that I know that I've been teaching for a while, and I've made progress in the game, but I didn't know that it would stack up against all this new information. So it was really cool to see that team kind of grow together, and it's our first time together as a team. It sounds like we're going to move somewhere else as a team as well. So it all kind of worked out in the end. But yeah, that was my scariest part this summer.
It's fantastic. Cynthia, what was your scariest moment on tour?
Oh my God. Well, let me say two. One really quick. We were in a sleeper bus, and I got, they're not all the same, but anyway, I got the bunk that I really, really liked, but because I was the oldest, I got a bunk that I could sit in also, so there was no bunk above me, but there was no wall. I don't know how to say that, but there was no wall at my head or at my feet. Usually they are. So my head, if I was like front window. So if an accident would have happened with the bus, I would have like been the one, like first one flown in, like at first. And so the first night was something to get us, just, it's scary. It moves. I always felt like it was going to go on the ground, and then I would peek at the window and be like, oh no, we're fine. And then like, it's just a feeling of, anyway. But I think the scariest was for anyone that saw the Trooper show, there was a final fight between the devil and the Trooper, and they changed it in North Carolina to where like the props, and we're talking about props. Those props were scary. Anyway, they changed it to something that was very interesting and very fun to watch. But every time, so by the way, the devil was 15. So I felt like, yes,
What?
the devil is 15. Evan is 15,
Mellophone player, right?
uh,
Mellophone player,
yes,
right?
yes. So for people maybe don't know the story, he auditioned for a mellophone and he actually made it for a mellophone, had a spot. And I don't know what camp they were like, hey, does anyone play guitar? And he's like, yeah, me. And then he got the role of the devil. So he was not planning on being the theater kid with a guitar. He wanted to be in a mellophone line.
This is the summer of theater kid in drum corps,
Yeah.
and I will tell you, it is like raining hard. Someone needs to start trending that now. I will hashtag theater kid in drum corps.
Yeah. Oh no,
Oh.
he was amazing. He was really, really good at, yes, what you saw, but all the behind. It's hard to be a soloist or a featured person. You belong, but you don't belong. You're with, and he was amazing. But anyway, he was 15, so because of he's so young, I don't know. I felt like a mom, and then I would look over, and they would be like fighting, and then they're like boys, like they loved that scene. Him and the trooper that actually comes from Casper. He's the kid that comes from Casper, Wyoming. Anyway, they would jump, like the props wouldn't be aligned, so they would be like a 2 foot gap, and they would jump over the gap, and I was like, no, like. I guess that was the scariest. I couldn't watch it, and they were like, Cynthia, that's the point, and I was like, no, this is not the point. But no one got hurt ever in that scene, I should say, because those props, we had slips and slides once in a while, but yeah. So that was the scariest for me.
You just went into full mom mode every time.
You did.
Like, I can see you. Boys, stop
Arm.
playing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Peyton, tell us about your scariest moment this summer.
Okay, this one's actually gonna kind of be serious. I really wish it was like fun and quirky. However, one of my favorite things about drum corps that I will preach to the choir for anyone who will listen is that I find it to be an incredibly formative experience, like teaching kids how to do drum corps. So Spirit is a place that a lot of people will go for their first drum corps experience. And one of my favorite things is like navigating younger kids through that, like 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And sometimes you're just hit with things that you're not even prepared with. Like, you know how to help with Texas Tour. You know how to like help through Swamp Tour when they're complaining that they have swamp, like trench foot or whatever. Not trench foot, but like you get my point. So post Atlanta, we got hit really bad with COVID. So it was like the day after the regional, and it was, at first it was like 3 people. And then we found out it was more people. And then we had a lunch break, and then we found out it was 10 people. And by the end of the day, it was like 30. And everyone was like really sick in different kinds of ways. And then my seat partner was sick. And then they kind of made the call the next day that it was like, hey guys, we're going to stop testing. Everyone who feels bad or has a fever, like, has to go into the quarantine gym. And here's how we're going to do it on the buses. It was just very like, it was scary, because it's like you already are in this little microcosm in drum corps itself. And so when your entire corps is getting sick, and you're watching kids that like you take on as like your little siblings dying on air mattresses, not like dying on air mattresses, but when you
drum
have
corps, it feels like that for sure.
Sitting out, and you're pushing a podium across a grass field, when you yourself feel horrific, but you know that you like can't go and get tested because 160 people need you. That's scary, and that's like mentally just something I've never gone through with before. And I'm very lucky that our ops team handled it very smoothly, and I have a great relationship with them. But I remember just crying and thinking to myself that I was really scared that they were like gonna send us home, because so many people got sick, and it was just such a low mental moment for so many individuals within the Corps. And of course, like, it got better a week later, but that was within the last 2 weeks of tour, where it could have been a very plausible thing where if we were sick enough or if we did not consistently recover, they would have sent us home. And it was not something we needed with the scores either, because we had just started to like get consistent with design stuff and getting clean with drill and making sure the cover downs looked correct, and then everyone got sick. So it was just a very like low moment for so many individuals, like myself included. And of course we recovered. It was totally fine by Indy, but I can remember being in West Virginia and just being like, I've never dealt with this before, especially as a leader. So that was scary, but it was something new.
I can only imagine being on tour and having that happen, and then you're like, you don't know whether or not, hey, I'm going home, am I staying? And then when everyone starts to come around, I mean, like, that just makes your whole drum corps experience that much more, you know? It's just like, oh yeah, that year when everybody got COVID and then we got better and we finished our season. Like, honestly, that's the gig. I love that.
Yeah. That's going to be
You
a
know?
good memory later. It's going to be a good one. Not scary anymore since you made it through it. But when you're on a
Yeah.
drum corps tour, everything is elevated because you are literally around the same 160 people 24/7 for 2.5 months. So, COVID is still real, people. It's still out there. So we have to protect ourselves because people are still getting sick. And it will take out a drum corps. And it does always seem like everybody's like drum corps or winter guard, like sickness always happens like towards the end. Like, I don't know what that is. Why fate chooses to tempt us. We put in a full summer of hard work and then we get to the end and it's like, ha ha, here you go. Here's a virus for you.
They see so many more people. They have many more free days. They can get out into the
Well, and then like at Genesis, we had to tell kids to stop sharing jugs. We're like, guys, I get that you're friends, I get that you forgot your water, but like, there's a whole drum corps right now that's got like half of the members on the field. Like, stop. We had a kid. His name is Jimmy. I'm gonna throw Jimmy under the bus right now. Jimmy, my guy, my dude, he did not wash his jug once on tour. So I left middle of tour, got back the last couple weeks. And he was like, yeah, I saw his jug that day. He opened it up. He's like, look, and there were mold in it. And I was like, Jimmy, that's disgusting. This staff was starting to roast him in block. Like, dude, wash your jug. He lost it at the last gas stop and was drinking water bottles from gas stations. And we're like, that's probably better. But yeah, like, we talk about kids getting sick. Like, sometimes, towards the end of the season, they just are getting comfortable with each other. They're drinking out of their bus water bottles, like, hey, have a soda, like, here, share this soda with me. It's like, I get it. Like, we're having a good time. You're making friends, but like, we got to just be smarter. Wash your hands also. Like, that's disgusting. I carry like the dude wipes and the hand sanitizers all the time. And I guess, again, talking about being the oldest guy on tour and all that thing, like, people were like, oh, you're always so prepared. I'm like, no, I'm just not trying to get, whatever it is that the drum corps has, like, they're all sleeping in the same.
It's because your frontal lobe cortex is developed.
I think people my clients would beg to differ when we're on design calls, but I'm gonna take that on the podcast. Thank you. I'm smart today.
That is awesome.
All right, guys, we've talked about our scariest moments. Now let's talk about some of our best moments. I will start first on this one. I will tell you, it was so cool to be in different parts of the country where I have friends that have moved away and I don't necessarily get to see them. And they would show up to the shows to see me and the kids. And it was just, it warmed my heart. I had a friend in Denver. I had a former student and friend in Salt Lake. And then I had another really good friend and former assistant in Rochester. It was lovely to just like have an evening or have them come to rehearsal and watch the Corps rehearse. That was great. Nicole?
Wow, I am really on the spot here. But you know what, though? I was only on tour for 3 weeks, so I remember everything. I think one of the best things, I don't know, about just coming back to teaching this summer was, actually seeing like those bits and bursts of like the light bulbs going off. That was what I really loved about teaching. And it's just like, don't get upset, because you know what? I'm not upset. I know you're going to get it. So let's, keep going through it and things like that. And then it's just like, okay, I'm going to walk away. And then they start getting it. And then they just start getting better and better. Like, I feel like there was a moment or a time when I was there that they actually they did level up, while I was there.
Oh, there were
And that was
several of
my
those moments. Several.
So I was very happy to have done something. Like, I wanted to see that growth while I was there, and I did. And I was even like, "Hey, do you need me any longer? I want to come back." And I was just like, "That's fine, Nicole. You'll see him again." But that was my fun part, is to see them climb that mountain. Yeah.
Joey?
Mine's kind of on the same track as Nicole. I did the last bit of spring training, the first couple shows, and then I got off tour, did band camp. I'm actually on week 13 in a row of band, 7 days in a row. So do the math on that and cry a little bit for me, because I'm crying too. But I did some band camps. Today I did 3 different band camps. I went to 3 different bands today. That's
The hustle is so real. I
real.
totally get you.
At some point I'm gonna not do that, but here we are. And I told about 7, I call them like red, like code reds, like there's 7 kids in the horn line. They can't put their horn up in time. Their feet aren't in time. Their posture's bad. There's whatever. I was like, hey, Dakin, I'm just gonna start throwing everybody under the bus. Dakin, you need to get a comment that you're leaning too far forward. Jimmy, shout out Jimmy. Jimmy, you need to get a comment that your feet are too fast here. So and so, you need to get a comment within these next 3 weeks that this is happening, and that's how you'll know that you're now progressing to the things that you need to work on. And so I got back, and the first thing they do, they're in block. They leave the rep to be like, Joey, guess what? 2 days after you left, I got this comment. Now look at me, And so I was like, sweet. There's a rep going. Get in the rep, and then like your water break, we'll talk. But that was a very lovely moment. So like same as Nicole, it was just seeing the light bulbs, seeing the progression, seeing them enjoy getting better was so fun. And then shout out Josh Gall and the Gall brothers at UDB at DCI finals. I got to watch prelims, semis, and finals from the UDB box. And man, are those the seats to watch the show? Up there in those press boxes with the pulled pork and the free sodas and the lanyards and vibes. That was so cool to be up there and enjoy. They invited the entire Genesis Viz team, and we sat and watched all the performances on Saturday together, and our last little hurrah together. And it was that capped a beautiful summer for me. Yeah, it was great. Shout out Josh Gall.
Love it. Cynthia, what about you?
I hear you guys, and my heart is racing out of joy, I guess. So I'll go fast, but I will do one as a trooper and one very particular to me. I can call myself a trooper now because I got one of those rings that I've never got my entire life. I was like, I cried. Well, that was one of them. Mary was like, hey, staff, and handing out the rings, and I'm like, oh. But anyway, well, first of all, the troopers had 3 standing ovations, the 3 indie nights, prelims, semis, and finals. And that was amazing to live, amazing to see, amazing to the kids. Actually, maybe the prelims was one of the most memorable moment I will have, because when the show was done, first of all, we didn't expect to have standing ovations at prelims, the kids neither. And that show was I can say it, I love Tim, the director. He said it in the big mic. That show was long, so we had to be like, and done, troops, hell, go. Like, we had to run out. We had no time. They had no time. So to have standing ovations throughout the show for them was great, because they didn't have a lot of time at the end to enjoy. But anyways, but I was walking behind Tim and behind Tarek, who was the drum major, and they were stopped by everyone after that performance at prelims. We had a hard time getting out of the stadium because Tim and Tarek got stopped every 2 seconds. That show was electric. Prelims, finals also, but I don't know. And also seeing the line at the booth, the merch people working out. Troops booth had a lineup every show. It was completely crazy. I mean, people loved it. It was a very like crowd pleasing show, and they do good merch. The troopers do good merch, by the way. So anyway, so I guess those two things were very trooper related. And as for me, like maybe one day I'll do like a book of myself, but I hear you guys and being like, oh, I have to do so much marching band. Oh my god, I have to do so much color guard. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't because I don't have that opportunity. It's not because I don't want to. It's not because I don't want to hustle. It's because I can't. I don't have it, and you guys have it. And that comes with an imposter syndrome that I think that everyone has, but that I've had for my entire life. Because I don't come from where I'm not a Boston Crusader girly. I haven't been taught by the greatest of the greatest, yes, but not the greatest that people know they are the greatest, right? So I've had like a huge imposter syndrome 2 years ago. Jeremy will talk about it. Maybe we'll talk about it Monday, but went through like, I thought I was done with color guard. I resigned from Lazy Clips, who I'm back. And this year was very, very important to me. And to be part of a team of staff that do that for a living. A lot of those staff are Texas people, which that's what they do for a living. And not only I fit in, but I decided to let go of my imposter syndrome when I decided to go back into color guard, and that changes the way you do things, the way you approach things, the way you talk to people, the way you care, but you let go so easily. I said things, or I stepped forward for things, and not like troopers were amazing, food was amazing, everything was amazing, but I would say things they would like, you can't say that. And I was like, why would I say that? Like design, like I'm a tech, and I was like, why would I will say that? Well, you don't say that. Well, what will they do? Bring me back home? Like I'm one of the best. Like it was very validating to be part of this team and to know I was valued, to touch kids that I never talked to. No one knew me. Like I knew Chris McCarthy that I love with all my life, but we marched together. We didn't teach together. The Cahoons, like I didn't teach with the Cahoons. They taught me. Like it was, so yeah. So as a person, I think I just go back to this activity being like, one, I am good. By the way, I'm good.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Second,
yeah.
we will figure out a way that even though I'm Canadian, you guys will see more of my face. This needs to be somehow, some way part of my living, of my living income. You know what I mean? Like I give a lot for free because I love it so much. I don't think it will ever be my full income. Like I won't move to Texas. I have a kid. I love my country and I love my everything that goes with it. But yeah, let's hustle.
Okay.
But yeah.
Be careful what you wish for.
On the podcast, I'd be like, oh, I have so many videos to do today.
13 weeks.
Peyton, tell us about your best moment from tour this summer.
So as I previously yapped about, we had a hard kind of like home stretch where it was a lot of up in the air. We didn't know what was going to happen, but you have to like remain resilient in this activity, which is one of my favorite aspects of it. And we hadn't had very consistent performances. So we had 5 unscored shows this past season. One of them was a standstill. We had a few of them get rained out, which like is just, it sucks for the entire morale of the Corps. And so we finally get to Indianapolis the day before we had our indie show, our first indie show for prelims. We had been like in lightning protocol for like half the day. And so we do this performance, and then it was just this incredible standing ovation, which just, I think any site where you're in Lucas Oil Stadium and you stand up and you turn around and everyone is just on their feet and you can see them getting on their feet as like the final movement is about to end and they get up before it even ends. I think as a performer and as a drum major, you feel such a sense of pride in that moment. And so I start sobbing. And so there's all these pictures of me like ugly crying my makeup off, and I'm doing this. It was really a cute moment, but in that moment, like, you're just so proud of your core, and you just feel such fulfillment out of that.
You've done something.
You've done something, exactly.
You have done something. And a lot of people can say that they haven't done it, but you meet so many people along the way, and it's just like, yeah, you did this summer, and you did this summer, and honestly, like, oh, it's so I really, really thought that drum corps was just so good this year. So good.
Everyone was good.
Yeah.
Everybody
like,
was good.
Yeah.
There were shows that I was so impressed. Like, I was impressed with what Spirit was doing. Like, those backdrops were great. What I mean, honestly, if there's some backstory you can tell me about
biggest
that.
logistic, I can totally talk about it. However, getting those on the prop truck, shout out the Spirit of Atlanta 2024 prop crew. They are the craziest, most hardworking individuals. I'll literally screen record this and send it to Jean. Hardest workers I know. We had 35, like, it was, for starters, anyone who says one core, one score is so true, because everyone was doing something with those props. Because if one person wasn't doing their job correctly, it would have been the craziest time penalty. Everyone had a little creature that they had to bring out. Everyone had a tarp. Everyone was doing something to contribute to that mess of the field that was the backdrop of my show, which it turned out lovely every time.
It was beautiful.
It
was beautiful.
It was so cool. I mean,
beautiful.
honestly, to see it, I saw it on TV first because I was here for prelims, and looking at it on TV, it looks like someone drew on
Yeah.
like the TV.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, is that? And I even like messed with my TV a little bit too, and I was like, that's on the field. Ooh, I almost made us bleep. Oh no.
So the show itself was the baby of one of our designer people, where he had, I think it was like album cover art, where he found it and then he like deep dived into the artist is named Lily Wood, and it was album art for this like EDM artist. And I think Matt Filosa was like listening to this EDM artist and saw this and was like,
That's a show.
About that.
That's a show.
That's a show. Like, I'm
That's a show.
so glad that that's the story behind it, because it's just like, yay, good. I don't feel alienated. I can get behind that, you know? It was just so cute. I loved it.
Thank you.
All right, friends. Well, it is time for us to head to another commercial break. We will be right back with On a Water Break.
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, and here are your announcements coming from the box. Don't miss all of our bonus content, including On a Water Break in Rhinestones with your host Lexi Duda, exploring the world of the twirlers. Don't miss Parades and Drum Majors at Step Off with your host Jack Goudreau, and get lost in translation with your host Cynthia Bernard, exploring all the words that confuse all of us in the marching arts all across the world. And go behind the lens with marching arts photographers all across the country with your host, Chris Marr. Plenty more bonus content from On a Water Break, so listen anywhere you get your podcasts. If you want to be on a Water Break as a guest, or you know somebody that would make a great guest for On a Water Break, email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media. Okay, field staff, take it away.
Let's reset.
And we are back. And guys, it is time for our favorite segment of the evening. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
I am going to start this one off because I want to know why in 2024 drum corps still get stuck with awful housing sites. So we were on our way from California. I think it was going over to like the Utah, Wyoming, that whole area tour. And we stopped in Nevada. And the town was a gorgeous little small town. There were mountains for me to look at, but we had to share a housing site with SCV. So picture it. 320 marching members and maybe 60 staff and volunteer people on top of that. There was one locker room, not one set of locker rooms. There was one locker room for all 400 of those people staying in this school.
Somebody messed up.
Yeah. And one gym. So we all know, everybody that has done drum corps, you all know, like, you're never clean over the summer. Like, you're never going to truly be clean. But, you know, you try to get as close as you can. I went to shower in one of the designated times that it was for, you know, adult men to shower. And I walked into this locker room and the drain had been closed up. And there were 6 inches of gray water on the floor in the entire locker room, not just like on the shower part. It was the whole locker room. It was the most disgusting thing I have ever been a part of in my life. Yeah. So I did find a small little hill in the drum corps soup that I was able to kind of balance myself on and like kind of rinse off and shower. But that was not the answer. What are we doing?
I don't like that you just said that there's a hill in the shower. Like, that sounds gross. Like, what is the pile of?
It was like a little like raised area of like concrete or something. Like, I don't know if it was like a ledge maybe that was like built into the floor or something. I don't know, but it was like high enough for me to stand on that I wasn't submerged in nasty drum corps soup.
Nope.
Oh God. Oh my God.
That's a food truck shower. I'm not even getting close.
Well, it got so bad that our both Gio and Josh, Gio from SCB and Josh from our drum corps, decided to go out and buy hoses, and they just hooked up a water hose outside and was like, "Hey guys, like, this is what we have to do right now. Like,
spray them
we
down.
might have to shower outside."
True story. When I was marching back in '99, we were all trying to get like a shower, and there wasn't that many showers. I marched Patriots in '99, and they had a big sprinkler system. We were like, dude, we can just keep our underwear on and just go do. Had my little koosh thing here. We did it really quick. It was very cold, but like we didn't have to wait in line.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, we did get in trouble, but at the same time, I'm clean now. You know what I mean?
Nicole, do you have a what are we doing?
I think I do, actually. So I guess, and honestly, I actually take this from somebody. So this was inspired by Susie Harloff. But yeah, what are we doing? Having these drum corps shows be this long.
Oh, Lord.
I think it should be chopped down some as well. Like, there are some times when, like, it, you know, dips, and sometimes, like, the show flow does not dip back up. And so that's really hard. So I feel like if it condenses down, you don't have to, you know, have that lull. And I don't know how to tell you what that is.
Oh, I know how to tell you. I'm going to jump on Joey's bandwagon. I'm going to throw some people under the bus. It's the drummers. We do not need 3-minute-long drum breaks in drum corps shows. I get it. You want to show off your diddles and your flam taps and all of that good stuff. Don't nobody care. It sounds like a box of rocks. It's a box of rocks is what it sounds like. I said it. There it is. Love you, drummers. Mean it. But we don't need 3 drum breaks. Joey.
Uh-oh.
Your turn.
I don't know that I have like anything super. I don't have anything super that I'm passionate about right now. I would say that about this time every year, I try to remind people that you shouldn't self-diagnose post-drum corps depression. And so like, what are we doing? Trying to just hang it out on our own. Call your friends, call your buddies, tell them you miss them. Say showers are lonely. Say that I miss hearing your snores. I love you. I mean it. So I mean, like, I don't know that it's not happening, but like, if you have the chance, text a friend, text your horn sergeant, text your arc buddy, text whoever it is, let them know you miss them, you love them, and it's going to be okay. November comes around pretty quick, and we'll all see each other in Grand Nats and fall marching bands and all the things. So I guess my what are we doing is just text your buddy, tell him you love him.
Reach out to the homies. Reach out to the homies.
Well, you know what? There was not. I'm aging myself right now, but there weren't cell phones when I marched.
Same, because we marched in the 1900s, Nicole.
Oh, back in my day when we marched.
I had to wait in line for 3 hours at a payphone. And that is actual facts.
So true.
Cynthia, what are we doing?
I don't have any. It's been such a great summer. Maybe it's a hint towards like, what are we doing? Jumping 2 feet ledges between props, like, but no, really, like I really had a great summer, and I think what are we doing complaining about this activity when we're in it type of thing, where like it's I mean, and yet again, complaining is part of it, and that's fun too. Like, I'm all about venting.
Embrace the suck.
But embrace the suck, because it's all box 5, right? But yeah. So yeah.
That's got to be on a t-shirt.
Yep. Printing them up tomorrow. Peyton, what are we doing?
So I feel like you have to give me some context with this. This is my first what are we doing?
Well.
Oh, we have not been good. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm a terrible host, and I
reset.
These are hot takes, correct?
Oh yeah, this is live. We're going for it right now. So
yeah, it's very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, it's we'll just think about something that we're doing in drum corps that, could be better.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this because I did a podcast I think it was around June, about women in leadership. Why aren't we talking about, shut up. Sorry, one of my friends is calling me. Why aren't we recognizing more female drum majors and uplifting that? I saw more people get dramatic about Carrie McCourt being so dramatic on the front podium when she is one of the most talented and incredible individuals ever. Like,
amen.
Why can't we uplift that? Why does it have to be the dramatic Phantom Regiment drum major? Like, she could step on you. Seriously.
She did step on me. She did step on me.
And she's just, I really look up to her as a leader. So, but even with SCV's like fully female drum major team, one of my best friends is on that team. And people were like, oh my God, it's all girls. Like, why can't you just give that a hell yeah? Is it really that hard?
They are serving the dramatics. I'm sorry. And here's the other thing too. Like, I think it's Music City. They have 2 female drum majors, both women of color.
All 3 of them are women of color.
Yeah. See? And, oh gosh, who else were you talking about? It was you and Phantom. But the thing about it is, and SCV, but the thing about it is when they turn around, I don't know, I feel like the drum major is the door to the show that you're about to walk into. That salute is kind of like inviting you in, but this is my thought process through it. But, don't just turn around and do something and then turn right back around. Like, give me the face of what I'm about to see.
Serve it up on a platter.
But make sure you hit your ick die. Isn't that right? Is that the right word?
That is the right word.
Make sure you have an ictus.
That needs to be on a shirt too.
Make sure you have an ictus.
Yes.
Let us get all our merch out. Look at us. Here we go. Hashtag check out the on a water break.
All right, we have talked about fun things, we have talked about sad things, we have talked about scary things, and we have talked about drum corps soup. But now it is time for us to talk some gush and goes. I'm going to gush. I came right off tour literally the next day and started classes with my kids. So I had to wake up early, get to school, make sure my classroom was set up. And I've been in school for about a week now, back with my home babies, and I've just missed them so much. And my theater kids, and I got a host of brand new freshmen that are just awesome. And I am super excited about the school year. So this is going to be fun.
I wish I could be in your class. Like, honestly, I would look forward to it.
It's a hoot. I'm performing all the time. I tap dance every now and then. I'm terrible at tap dancing. Nicole, gush and go for us.
Oh, gosh. That's a tough one. I am just like kind of, in this area here and loving it. But I guess I'm gushing more about, I don't know if this is a gush. I am kind of excited about it because I've been on this lull, but at the same time, marching band season starting up. And so that means that I have my busiest time about to come up because I'm going to be judging every weekend for a consecutive 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice.
We'll be going. So, and I'm excited about that.
Love it.
What do you judge?
For outdoor, it's either color guard, ensemble visual, and visual analysis.
I need to give you a call because I have an assignment for visual ensemble, and I'm like,
dang,
so scared.
You got it.
You can call me. It's fine.
Yeah. I will.
Joey, what are you gushing about?
Kind of same thing as Nicole. I've got a big judging stint coming up starting in September. Like I said earlier, I did 13 weeks this summer. I'm about to take maybe 3 days off, and then it's marching band again. I'm presenting at WGICon. I'm doing a presentation called "It Takes a Village." Very excited about that.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about. I started an indoor group and an organization here in North Carolina, and I don't think I could have ever done that without the support of a group of schools and mostly a main director. Her name's Olivia Dove Spell. We're going to be doing the presentation together. I'm super excited to be in San Fran, take some classes, do a presentation, watch some presentation. But yeah, it's about to be a bunch of band. I hope to see people on the road. I hope to see people in Grand Nats. It's ramping up to be a really cool fall. All of the shows that I've designed for, and all the shows that I'm kind of been around this so far. Everybody's just on top of it this year. The procedures are there. The kids' mindsets are there, and so it's going to ramp up to be a great fall. And I'm just ready to go for it.
Love it.
Congratulations.
Love it. That's awesome. Cynthia, what are you gushing about?
So because I'm an older person on tour, I don't go on social media a lot. And then I got home and then I got oh my God, I miss my people and stuff going on social media. And I saw all the memes, and all the little video montage making fun of corps, but in a very funny way. And being part of the troopers, there were several. So shout out to everyone that is creating that. I actually cried to tears when I saw there's a video of Tarek at the end of the show presenting this year's program and next year's program and the other year program because the troopers just announced their show for next season, for next summer, not even 12 hours after finals or something like that. So I was like, this is going to be a trilogy. And then it was a video so for creativity through social media, it's a big shout out. I loved it. Yes, we love Tarek.
I love Tarek so much.
Peyton, what are you gushing about right now?
I'm going to sound like I'm 2 years old. I just moved into my first college house.
Oh, yay!
I have a real kitchen, not a dorm kitchen.
You have furniture, baby. I'm so proud of you.
I'm not in a dorm.
That is
So
cute.
nice. I don't have a twin XL. I'm like moving up in the world.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, people should get you stuff for your new apartment.
I'm gonna be like, you know how
Amazon.
Carrie McCourt had her classroom funded by all the people, and then people bought stuff for her kindergarten classroom. I'm gonna be like, buy me stuff. No, I wouldn't.
No.
I am a hardworking woman. I can provide for myself.
Yes. And we are here for it. Well,
Hey, it's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
guys, thanks for a great rehearsal this week. Thanks to our hosts, Nicole, Joey, Cynthia, and Peyton. One more thing, don't forget we have our YouTube channel now that has many of our interviews coming out as full video editions. So you can see, all of our crazy shenanigans as we're recording this podcast. Go and subscribe so you don't miss those. And before you close out your podcast listening app, go subscribe, write us a review, and share this with a friend. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break, and we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
Go practice.
Tell your friends you love them.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Reams. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.